I'm Peter Beckwith, and welcome to Taylor Mountain Winter Round 2016, a UFOs production. We're over 2,500 views and 65 subscribers. This video is brought to you by Pound Disc Golf Bags, home of the Octothorpe. Please visit pounddiscgolf.com for all your backpacking needs. Also brought to you by Dollar Disc Golf Auctions on Facebook, buying, selling, and collecting discs. Check them out, really fun site. And please support local business, Play It Again Sports, and Underrated Disc Golf.
Hey guys, Billy Briscoe here from Play It Again Sports in Santa Rosa. Wanted to make you guys an offer. Anybody who watches these videos or any of Peter's videos can come in at any time now through the end of the year and grab any Innova Star or Champion plastic disc at $13.99, tax included. We want to beat any price out there, period, including online. So come to Play It Again Sports at 1911 Santa Rosa Avenue. We'd love to take care of you. Thanks.
On behalf of the UFOs and our viewers, thank you, Billy. That was a great offer. Our featured card, Frank Villas, David Mangon, Juan Bernal, and Casey Mclaughlin. Here we are at Taylor Mountain, hole number 1.
I'm still like fucking amazed. I was like, what?
And there it is, folks. You can hear the hoopla.
You guys are all signing that.
You can hear the hoopla, and there's Frank Villas, aced number 1. So, an incredible feat. This is the 3rd video I've done at Taylor, and already there's been 2 aces on hole number 1. Pretty incredible. This is Juan throwing, and he's going to go to the right, and he's going to have a putt just comes down underneath that tree right there. And here's David throwing his brand new star turn. And let's see what he can do with that. Just an incredible first shot by Frank Villas. Star sidewinder, by the way. And there's his disc. This is Casey Mclaughlin, who showed up just a little bit after we teed off. And he's throwing his white rival from Legacy. I didn't actually get Casey putting, but he ended up unfortunately taking a bogey on this hole. So we did not get that. But here is David, who's got a look, and Juan's got a look too. Not too bad if you end up under the tree. This is typically an Anheuser shot if you're a right-handed player, but Frank is a lefty, so he's got a wide open hyzer shot. But still a great shot for a hole-in-one.
Here we go. First shot of the day, first Taylor ace. That's 10 for me. Frank Villas 61206.
And off the front of the cage for Juan. It's Juan off the cage for a par. So Frank off to a great start. And here's Taylor Mountain hole number 2. This runs parallel to the road, and the road is OB if you do go to the right. Here's Frank Villas. He's throwing his putter. And that is just holding that line. And that's going to get past that limb, so he's going to be about 25, 30 to the left of the hole. He'll have a putt. And if you're a right-handed player, the right play, or the play you see most often, is something like Juan just threw here. The big hyzer shot and let it come back. Now, he's using a DGA breaker, and that thing just well short of the hole. It just kind of went too high on him. But David's going to throw a more typical line. This is his buzz, and the American flag buzz. He really likes that disc, and that's going to go right in there. A little bit short, but that's the preferred route. And here's Casey. Casey's throwing his new putter. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's either an MVP or an Axiom putter. But he finds the road, and the road shall giveth and taketh away. Very fortunate enough to get a skip, and he's in bounds. There's one for a deuce, and he's just played it really smart and safe and laid up for the par. David likes running putts, and I believe that's what he's going to do right here with his McPro AVR. This is the new McPro AVR. And here's Frank Villas for 2. Money in the bank. Frank Villas with an unbelievable putt. So he's 3 under after 2, folks. And Casey, no stranger to the video camera. Another really nice putt for Casey. He's at even. And here we are at Taylor Mountain, hole number 3. Another Anheuser shot if you're a right-handed player, but that was Frank, and he's going to use a rock. So Frank is lefty again, and so this is a normal Heiser shot for him. And that is not coming back. He will have a look, but that's not too bad of a shot, and you can see he's somewhere in that 35 to 40 foot range, maybe. Here's Casey. Casey's going to try to throw a rival right here, and I believe that's what he used on hole number 1. And he got it to go over those trees, and that might have been a generous kick off the tree. I don't think it hit a tree, but he'll have a putt, and this is Juan. One of the most slippery tee boxes at Taylor Mountain is hole number 3, so Juan checking it out, make sure he's not going to fall. And he throws it out, and that's curving right around. And a really nice skip, and he's parked. Beautiful shot by Juan. I believe that's going to set him up for a birdie look. And here's David with his buzz. And that's a really nice shot. That's kind of where you want to be. I like to be right there. He's about 20 feet away for a little uphill shot. Here's Casey for a 2. And he just left it out a little bit to the left. And here is Frank Villas to see if he can keep it rolling. Off to a hot start. Oh no, right off the front of the basket. And that's going to be a par for Frank. And here's David for a 2. And he got it. And there's Juan cleaning up his birdie. So a couple birdies as Juan and David move to -1, Casey at even, and Frank Villas leading at -3. And here we are at Taylor Mountain, hole number 4. So you can attack this one a couple different ways, and Juan's going to show you how to do it right here. Juan is using his outlaw, and he's going to go up and over, so you can go up and over if you have a big enough arm. Juan has a cannon. Oh, and look where that ended up. That's parked. So you can either go, I like to go low and up the gut and kind of let it fade back towards the left. And David's going to go up the hill. I don't know if he intended to do that, but if you get it high enough, there's a flat landing zone up there where there's no trees in the way, and it's really nice, and you actually do have a look from it. Frank is going to be close to that, but he's going to have, I believe he's going to have a tree in his way, unfortunately for Frank. And Casey likes to go up and over the same route that Juan just took, but I believe he hit something early, and he is going to be short of the hole, but he's going to try to get it right here. This is for birdie 2. Ooh, and just missed. That was a good run by Casey. Casey's going to have a par. And here's what I'm talking about. If you get above that ridge right there, it's flat. But he didn't get above it quite enough. And so that was a tough look for Frank. And that thing just sailed right by the hole and back down the hill. So he's going to have a tough par putt. But here is David for a birdie 2. Oh, no. And that's unfortunate for David. He's going to get a 3 right off the basket. And there's Frank running it for a par, but just didn't get high enough. That's a tough look. And a beautiful birdie for Juan right there. So Frank is going to get a bogey, a birdie for Juan, David a par, and Casey a par. So there's your scorecard after 4 holes. And here we are at Taylor Mountain, hole number 5. This is a big hyzer shot. You can do rollers, you can do forehands, typically not your advised route, depending on if you're right-handed or left-handed. They may vary, but Juan's going to go with the big hyzer, and this is the Taylor roller. Oh, no. And it stopped, luckily. I've seen those things roll all the way down the hill. That's what's called the Taylor roller. And they're nasty. Shout out to the guys in Napa the Napa Disc Golf Club, they have the Napa rollers, and they're like 60 to 100 feet. So they're way worse than the Taylor roller. But a beautiful course, and it's a really technical course. So I'm going to bring you that. Hopefully we'll get a group of people to go out to Napa here and play it and bring you some coverage, because that is a really fun course. It's always torn me up, but it's a pretty course. And Casey's going to get hung up right here. Just hit a tree. And that was a Thunderbird. David previously, though, had a nice drive. He's about 35 out. This is Frank Villas using his Sidewinder. Oh, and it hits the metal. Well, it sounded like it hit the pole. So another really good drive by Frank. Here's David for 2. And that's the thing with those McPro putters, is that if you don't keep them flat, they're very, very glidey. But they're good to putt with if you can get them consistent. Here's Frank for 2. And when you're hot, you are hot. Another really big putt for Frank Villas. Just cashing in on him when you get an opportunity. Here's Casey. So Casey had an upshot. That was his upshot I didn't get on film. But that's for par, and so that's going to be a bogey for Casey, which is rarely seen. And here is Juan for 2. And that's an unfortunate spit out. But there's the leader card. Frank Villas taking the birdie and Casey with the bogey. And here we are at hole number 6, one of my favorite holes at Taylor Mountain. There's no mandatory. The road is OB. But if you go through the gap in the middle, which you'll see Frank here do, that's my preferred route. Oh, and that just hit the basket right off the cage. That's 3 baskets he's hit in 6 holes. So Frank Villas, you might want to go out and buy a lottery ticket, because you're on fire right now. And speaking of fire, that is a beautiful shot by Juan. He's going to be about 15 short, though, believe it or not. That did not skip all the way. And David again with his buzz. Well, that's going to be a little bit closer. Well, him and Juan are in the same area. Here's the other route you can do. You can throw a giant hyzer bomb with a Firebird or the like. And this is Casey, and I believe he does use a Firebird. And for some reason, I didn't get it coming down. But you can see his disc right next to the hole. He's about 5 feet away and absolutely parked this hole. And this is David for 2. And he just hit the chains. I don't know what to say about that, but that's unfortunate. And that was Juan for 2. And oh no, there's the Taylor roller. Adios. And oh, that's a heartbreak for Juan. That thing is sayonara. That's going to be OB, and he's going to have to take a drop, and all of a sudden what was a birdie now is a bogey. And that's going to be a double bogey for Juan, so he's got a case of the double bogey blues, which you don't see often from Juan. Juan is a really good player, really got a nice guy. Fun to play with him, and that's a great par save for David. And we're going to get a couple park jobs. Here we go. Casey putting it in and Frank putting it in. So really good shooting so far. And that's going to put Frank at -4 with David in second place all of a sudden, and Juan taking the double bogey. So here we are at Taylor Mountain hole number 7. As you can see, we do have mandatory left of the pole. So Frank, as a lefty, this is going to be a typical hyzer shot. Otherwise, if you're right-handed, it's going to be an anhyzer or something else. Another really good shot. And this is the other shot I was talking about. You can throw a thumber, and Casey just absolutely crushes it with a thumber, and he's parked. So the only guys that I know that throw thumbers that well on this course is Casey and Steve Schroeder, and both of those guys are some of the better thumber throwers that I've seen. This is David. David is not going to get that anhyzer that he wanted. It was going good, and then just kind of faded out on him. And here's Juan, who's going to be up shortly. And that's not too bad by Juan. He's going to have a putt. So this is for birdie for Juan. Oh, and he just missed it. So David, let's see if David could catch fire here. I mean, that's a huge putt for David. And that's a really good birdie for Frank. And here's another birdie. So almost a star frame on that one, but Juan did not get the par. I mean, did not get the birdie. He's going to get a par. So 3 out of 4 birdies on that one. That's going to be really nice. So Frank moves to -5. David at -2 and Casey at -1. Here's Taylor Mountain hole number 8. This is uphill. I want to say it's about like 275. It plays a little bit longer than you think because of the uphill. But it's straight in front of you, and you can see, oh my goodness. I thought that was going to go in again. Frank is on some kind of roll, folks. And that is a park job. Here's Casey with a Thunderbird. And that's going to be right up there, about 25 feet away. Here's David. So David, I'm not sure if this is an outlaw. He might be a culverin, but he's got a couple outlaws that he just rips with. And that is a really good shot. And here's Juan. See if he can make up for that last hole. And that should just about be fine. So here's 3 park jobs for the most part. Let's see if Casey can get it in there for a star frame. Oh, and he hit the top of the basket, folks. So no star frame on this hole. But let's see if Juan and David can make theirs in. There's Juan for a nice 2. Good putt. And there's David, and Frank's right next to the hole. So that's, again, 3 birdies. So back-to-back holes with 3 birdies. Pretty good. And Frank is going to move to -6, followed by David at -3, and Juan and Casey are at -1. Here we are at hole number 9. Hole number 9 is kind of a tricky shot. This is it's one of the shorter holes on the course. Frank is lefty. He has a little bit of advantage here because it is a lefty hole. He sawed it off early, and that took a nasty bounce. But he might have a look. But normally it's an Anheuser shot. This is a really nice shot by David. You can see it's going to come back. And there's a piece of dirt right there that'll slide down towards the hole if you hit it. But that's the preferred route. You can see Juan was trying to throw that Anheuser shot as well, but just got it out a little bit high. But he should be okay. He'll have a putt. And here's Casey. Casey hung this thing way out there, but it kind of came back. I think all 4 players will have a putt. Here's Frank for 2. Holy moly! And Frank needs to go put $100 on red or black or something. This is unbelievable. He is just on a tear. And by the way, Frank, first time on video, first time to the program. So guys, if you like Frank, give him a shout out. We'll get him on again because he's just playing really well. And that's a really nice putt by Juan. So that's 2 in, and let's see, there's David parked. They'll have a short putt. See if Casey can get it in. And that's off the cage. So it looks like Casey's going to wreck 2 star frames in a row. I'm just kidding, Casey. You're a good player. And that's just, those are putts you normally make 9 out of 10 times. But the pressure with the camera, it adds. So after 9 holes, and that's all we have for you. -7, -4, -2, and -1. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the back 9.